Cowra's mayor says the state government's decision to close a local rail branch is the result of decades of neglecting the region's rail network. Local tourism is expected to plummet if a local heritage museum is forced to close in less than 2 weeks.
The state government has announced the rail line connecting Cowra to Demondrille will be temporarily suspended at the end of the month. The decision comes just weeks before the federal government is expected to hand down its report, following an inquiry into the transportation of grain on the country's rail infrastructure. Local leaders feel ripped off.
I think their timing is deplorable. There is a study being conducted, as everybody is aware, and out of that study we hope to be able to determine clearly what future that line may have.
However, the state government says its decision is based on advice the condition of the rail line is no longer safe for traffic. It admits it doesn't have adequate resources to fix it, but insists the suspension doesn't rule out the track's long-term future.
It doesn't preclude any future decisions on the line, and we'll obviously take into account any information that might flow from the federal government study, or for that matter, any other proposals.
But in the interim, this year's wheat harvest will have to be trucked to Port Kembla, leaving farmers to pay more for their freight to be transported by road. The Lachlan Valley Railway says transporting 300,000 tonne of freight every year would see an extra 10,000 trucks travelling on local roads. And it seems farmers aren't the only ones who'll pay.
It comes back to the Shire Council ratepayers who's going to pay for all this damage for the roads.
Local tourism in Cowra is also expected to take a hit. After operating for more than 20 years, the Lachlan Valley Railway has been given less than 2 weeks to decide its fate.
It's rather devastating news to us because it means if we remain here, we cease operating trains.
The Historical Society is desperately trying to secure a lease for the rail line, but says it's not confident with the short amount of time it has to seal the deal.
In direct losses to us, it's several $100,000 in passenger tickets that we sell.
The Cowra to Demondrille line will close at the end of the month. Dimity Clancy, Win News.
2 Western rail lines will stop operating within the next 2 weeks. The Cowra to Demondrille branch lines were among a group of 5 the state government had earmarked to close. It claims the rail tracks were a safety risk. Amy Williams has this exclusive report.
15,000 tonnes of wheat from the Lachlan Fertiliser Depot is loaded onto trains along the Cowra to Demondrille line every year. But by September 1, the line will be shut down.
We're left with a non-used rail highway, steel highway.
The state government announced in November last year it would close 5 of the region's rail branch lines, including the 2 lines from Cowra to Koorawatha and Koorawatha to Demondrille. But after strong community opposition, it delayed the decision until a council commission study on the viability of keeping them open was complete later this year.
This is one of the important links of it, so to have it suspended at this time is of concern and great disappointment, to say the least.
The news has trickled out that the government is set to suspend the 2 lines linking Cowra to Demondrille, meaning no one can use them without a lease or paying for expensive maintenance. The Lachlan Valley Railway Group is outraged.
It means that we've either got to move out of Cowra or keep the line open in some form or another.
The Transport Minister is currently on leave. When he gets back, Cowra Shire Council wants answers.
Decision made by people who haven't been talking to local government, that's for sure.
Amy Williams in Cowra, Prime News.